Okay, so how many of us have spun our wheels with our exercise and health goals? You've written them down, you felt awesome, and about a week later, it sort of dies and fizzles out and you're back to where you first started. It kinda sucks, right? So here are 3 reasons why you can't stick to your goals and what to do about it. So I think SMART goals turn our health and fitness into something that's really robotic. It doesn't really compel us into doing something. It's more so something that I need to do as opposed to as of something that I want to do. Lose 6 kilos in 6 weeks. Doesn't really compel us, right? And this is why I think so many of us fizzle out with our goals, and it's mainly because we just lose interest in them. I think SMART goals have a place somewhere in the exercise and health industry, but I don't think that's where you should start. Exercise should be an ongoing thing. Fitness should be an ongoing thing. Being healthy should be something that you do for the rest of your life. And when it comes to a SMART goal, there's an end date to it. And I don't think that any of these things that I just mentioned should have an end date. And another issue with SMART goals is that we won't actually be happy until we reach our goals, and it sort of takes away those little wins of ours. I think it's a much better approach to take a deep dive into who you want to become and create an exercise goal based on that identity. A great example of this would be to start identifying yourself as an active person. An active person would most likely exercise consistently. An active person most likely would eat really good, healthy foods. And I think it's a far better approach as opposed to just setting the goal of just losing weight. It's pretty bland. So to spit some science into this, people who actually identified themselves as something were most likely to do that action. So if you identified yourself as a voter, you're more likely to vote. If someone said that you'd be a cheater for cheating, you'd most likely not cheat. So I highly recommend you to start with an identity in mind and create goals based on that. So if you wanted a step-by-step guide, I do have a PDF down below. It takes you through the steps of identifying who you actually want to become and how your exercise goals can integrate into that. So when we set goals, we usually intend to reach for something that we don't already have. Putting on 20 kilos of muscle, tidying up those loose ends after Christmas, or improving your fitness because you've got that fun run in about 2 weeks. But as awesome as it is to think about the what ifs, I think a lot of us underestimate the process of actually getting to these goals. Putting on 20 kilos of muscle takes consistency of going to the gym, eating properly, and constantly revamping your exercise program. And I'm actually really guilty of this as well. I start a goal without actually thinking about what I actually need to get there. And I truly think it's because thinking about the process is uncomfortable. There's nothing sexy about eating vegetables every day. There's nothing sexy about getting up in the morning at 5 a.m. But the question I think most of us need to think about is, how do we become more comfortable with being uncomfortable? So to put this into perspective, when we're sitting down at a restaurant and we open up the menu, we see an option for grilled chicken salad or the double cheeseburger. Our brain in this situation sees comfort or discomfort, right? So instead of running away and saying screw the goal, start embracing what you're thinking. Start embracing this choice in your mind. Start to dance with all those voices in your head that tell you why you deserve to eat the cheeseburger, why you deserve to eat the cookie. Start asking yourself those questions instead of just making rash decisions. And this in itself will become a learning experience for you. We're not punishing ourselves if we choose to go with the salad, and we're not giving in when we choose to go with the cheeseburger. But it comes down to that identity that you've chosen from step one. Does it serve the person who you actually want to be or become? So I think this is the most important one. Relying on willpower to get you to your fitness goals is sort of like a shortcut to burnout. So willpower is sort of like a battery. The more things that we do, the more that we drain. And if we rely on willpower to get us to exercise or to get us to eat healthy, what happens on those days where we just don't feel like it? And I think a far better approach would be to create a system that you can rely on. And this system will involve your habits. So habits are actions that you don't really need to think about. So it's sort of like turning on a light in a dark room. You instantly do it without even thinking. But I won't get too deep into habit formation because that's for another video. But it's a really easy way to make your goals so much easier. The most actionable tip that I can give you right now is to start breaking down these bigger actions into smaller actions and creating habits on those. So hear me out. So instead of telling yourself, I'm gonna get into the habit of going to the gym, start by getting into the habit of what actually goes before the gym. Something like putting on your gym clothes, putting on your gym shoes, or taking a pre-workout or having a coffee. Start automating and creating that habit there. It doesn't really matter what you choose, but just make sure it's so easy that you can't say no to. So for me, I just tell myself, as soon as I get out of bed, I'm gonna be putting on my gym clothes. No questions asked. So those are my 3 tips. And if you have any tips of yourself, please leave it down below because it will probably help someone else. I hope that this helped. Bye.